My name is John Tillotson. Who am I? I'm the director of our Global Arts program, which is Applications, Research, and Technical Services. I'm going to talk to you today about our Actimask 92S, which are taste masked ibuprofen. A little bit about myself so you know who's talking to you. I have a degree in pharmacy from Ferris State University in Michigan. Has anybody here been to Michigan? No? Oh, one person. Do you live there? I find most people that have been there live there. And also I have a PhD in industrial pharmacy from the University of Cincinnati. So let's see here. I believe this will change the slides for me. I'm going to step up here. This screen will not accept a laser pointer, so I'll point to things. So this is Actimask Taste Mask Actives, and we're going to talk about Actimask 92S. We have a whole line. It also includes Actimask 92M, and if you were here last year, I spoke about that in detail at the speaker's corner at that point. And you can see we have a bunch of smiling kids here, and that's what we hope to have after they take our ibuprofen products. And that's what we will have because we're blocking the taste. Has anybody had any ibuprofen in their mouth? Like, has anybody ever had just like raw ibuprofen in your mouth? It burns. Even a small amount, it burns. It's not just bitter like acetaminophen, but it actually burns the inside of your mouth. It has a very hot taste, for lack of a better description. So what does Actimask Ibuprofen 92S do to help avoid that? Well, first off, at oral pH, less than 5% is released in the first minute. And we use the first minute as a marker of how long an orally disintegrating or chewable tablet would be in your mouth before you actually swallowed it. But it also has 100% release at 60 minutes in the compendial media, which means by applying the taste masking, we haven't ruined your immediate release properties of your dosage form. It is a hydrophilic coating. Why is that important? Because we have no residual solvents. A lot of technologies use solvent-based depositions. Ours does not. It uses a aqueous-based deposition. Very high assay, very important, 92%. Why? Because you don't want your tablet weight to go up. There's certain taste mask dosages in products on the market where the taste masking is actually, let's say, 50% or 30% of the actual particle. Then obviously your tablet weight has to go up to accommodate it so you can get to your dose. I'm also going to present a little bit on a pilot PK study we did, and I want to emphasize pilot. There were only 15 folks in this study. 2 of them dropped out, but it did show some very nice results compared with our ODT compared to the reference, which is Advil. This is a picture of our Actimask. I'm sorry, it never smiles. We've taken a lot of pictures of it. It doesn't smile for you. But this is the hydrogel coating you can see around it. This is the interior ibuprofen particle. And I think a much nicer picture is this SEM. And what you can see here is you have your core, which is ibuprofen, and you'll notice cores tend to have irregularities, such as this, that bump up, but you'll see that our Actimask technology coats even irregularities very nicely. And I know you can't see from your distance. I see a lot of you are just like me in school. You like to sit in back of the class. I used to sit in back of the class all the time. And from there you can't see that this number is 1.8, 2, 1.7, 1.8. So you see the thickness of our core measured by pixel calculations is relatively similar. So we have a very uniform coating. Typical physical characteristics, why do I point this out? It's very free-flowing, low angle of repose, very low Cars index, because this is intended for direct compression tableting. This is so there's nothing special here. You just mix it with whatever your direct compression formula is and you compress it. And you need good flow for that to happen. Nice uniform particle size, centered around 450 microns. And you see there's not too many fines, not too many overs. You got a nice uniform particle size distribution. I'm going to mention a little bit about ibuprofen's pKa-dependent solubility. It has a pKa of 5.2. That means in acid, it is not very soluble because it's protonated there. In base above 5.5, let's say, basic pHs, it'll be nearly 100% deprotonated, so it becomes much more soluble. Why do I bother to mention that? Because the pH of your mouth is around 6.8 to 7. So you can see standard ibuprofen powder at 1 minute and a phosphate buffer made to mimic that pH of 6.8, your oral pH. You have about 12% release of ibuprofen, whereas in the Actimask system you have about 2.5% release. You have to remember a very small amount of ibuprofen is enough to make somebody not want to take that chewable or orally disintegrating tablet. You notice, as I stated before, at 60 minutes in the compendial media, which is 7.2, we have 100% release. You're required to have 85%. So we meet that as well. Another thing we did is we did a little study where we compared compression force versus press speed. People like to run their tablet presses fast. They want to make as much product as they can in as short a time as they can. So what we did is a full factorial experiment to study our orally disintegrating tablet system, PharmaBurst 500, and if any of you were here, I guess 4 or 5 years ago when it was in Madrid, we launched that and discussed it. Were you here? Were you really here? I can't believe it. Usually we never have the same people. That's great. So we used that with our Actimask 92S, and we took a look to see what had more effect, press speed or compression force, and we did a statistical analysis. So what we did is we ran compression forces at 1800 and 5600, and turret speeds of 20 RPMs and 80 RPMs. So you can see we got to a very low dwell time, 6 milliseconds of dwell time. And dwell time, how many people here know what dwell time is? How many people care? No, I'll tell you what dwell time is. You know, but dwell time is basically when the compression force is at like 90% of its maximum. It's right on the head of your punch. So that's the amount of time that wheel, the compression wheel stays on top of your punch. Now, what we found out when we did the statistical analysis is that 87.7% of our tablet hardness was associated with compression force. That's good. That's what you want creating your tablet hardness or lack thereof. Only 8.8% was associated with the speed of the press. That's good. That shows you have this combination of Actimask 92S and PharmaBurst 500 had very little degradation, let's say, of its hardness profile against compression force based on the press speed. The combination of the two, A and B, had very little effect. In curvature, all curvature is saying, do we have a quadratic model here? Do we have to advance our model? We did not. It was a very low percentage effect. So it's a linear model to model this, these two forces, or these two treatments, rather. And we saw that they were all significant. They were all found to be significant. Even AB was very close to significant. The curvature was not significant, so we didn't have to model it. And so when you look at this equation, or whoops, equation's next, sorry, we're going to talk about the response surface. When you see compression force here and press speed there going from low press speed to high press speed, going from low compression force to high compression force, we see how much difference in tablet hardness is made by going from low to high compression force as compared to going from low press speed to high press speed. And that's sort of how that math and effects plays out in a graphic presentation. We had a very good model, just to show you the quality of the model. This is the adjusted R squared, so that's when the non-significant terms fall out of the model. This is the R squared you have. That's the one you should use. The real R squared can always be falsely inflated by just adding more model terms. So, but you see it's quite good. And you can see our equation, our regression equation for hardness against is 4.53 is our intercept. That's our average hardness. But you can see whether we're on low, if we're at low compression force, this becomes a negative one, so we can lose up to nearly 3 kPs of hardness. If we're at high compression force, we gain the 3 kPs. You can see the press speed does not have near that type of effect. So this is just another way to show you that press speed is not affecting our tablet formation near as much as our compression force. So conclusions are just what I basically said throughout, that it had very little press speed sensitivity, this combination of products, the PharmaBurst 500 with the Actimask 92S taste-masked ibuprofen, and going from 29 milliseconds to 6 milliseconds dwell time, we only had about a 9% loss in hardness, which is good. Our pilot PK study had 15 original volunteers in it, and then we dropped to 13. 2 dropped out of the study. You can see the junior strength Advil, which is the listed reference product, versus our ODT made with PharmaBurst and Actimask 92S. And we also have an ODP system with our product PharmaBurst. That's an orally dispersing powder we included in the study. You can see they all have very similar areas under the curve and time from 0 to 20 hours. And when we actually look at our tablet, the orally disintegrating tablet made with PharmaBurst 500 and Actimask 92S versus the reference, which was the Advil chewable, we find that we are well within the established 85 to 120% parameters for the AUC 0 to 24, the AUC 0 to 15, which area under the curve is the blood plasma time evaluation, and Cmax, which is the maximum concentration obtained in the blood. Very similar. So what we have is a taste mask product that appears not to alter the PK. I say appears because we had a small study. We didn't have the power to statistically predict that 95% or 99% at a 95% confidence interval, 99% of all results would be within 80 to 125, but our actual results in our smaller study were. So the formulations are expected to be bioequivalent if someone were to increase to about a 24 to 36 patient study to have adequate power to predict their confidence intervals. The 100 milligram results, interestingly enough, according to literature, should also be applicable to higher doses because the PK of ibuprofen has been shown to be linear. So Actimask Ibuprofen S, once again, just sort of a recap, it's a gelatin-coated ibuprofen, 92%, plus or minus 3% assay. The package size, they come in 50 kilogram drums, and all ingredients are USP, EP, or they meet the Food Chemical Codex. It's stable. We've done stability studies. It was stable under accelerated for 6 months. It's got 2-year long-term stability under room temperature conditions. And so in summary, it's an excellent taste barrier without altering ibuprofen absorption. Has a hydrophilic coating, which provides superior organoleptics because it's smooth. It also doesn't have any residual solvents. Has a high assay, 92%. And our pilot PK study showed that it seems very promising that it will have the same type of pharmacokinetic profiles as the reference product. So with that, I will conclude my discussion and open the floor to discussion or to questions. Or the manufacturing process is actually, that's a great question. Everybody asks that, and then I feel bad because the university side of me wants to tell you everything, but my bosses tell me I don't work there anymore because it's proprietary. I can't tell you the exact process. It's a type of coating process. It's more complicated than just a deposition, though, like in a fluid bed dryer or something like that. It's a chemical deposition that we use. But I can't get into the specifics. I'm sorry.
Is PI Pharma developing the isomer of ibuprofen like dexibuprofen?
No, right now we are not. I can tell you right now we are not developing the dex-ibuprofen, no.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I really thank you for your time. Thank you so much.